therefore, it is only sensible to use it and understand it by the spirit of the message, rather than literally just reading it as a literalist. I think that's what, like, pretty much every religion actually does this, by the way. It has been doing this forever. Sometimes they just pretend like they're not doing it, and then pretend to be, like, very literalist. And you'll see that when you talk to people, and you go through verse by verse. Sometimes they're saying, that's what it says, point blank period. And sometimes they're saying, well, yeah, it says that, but, like, what does it mean when it says that? What could it mean when it says that? It doesn't make sense for it to mean this. It must mean this instead, right? They use reasonability. And so having a modern context to things, applying a modern context to things, is only a sensible thing. For example, like, do I think, and this is, like, I think a more contentious issue now when it comes to Muslims, you know about the whole, like, you shouldn't, like, touch a woman or whatever, right? Like, that's a thing within Islam. You're not supposed to make physical contact with a woman that's not either your wife or your daughter or, like, somebody in your family or whatever, right? But then there's this thing called handshakes, right? We have this thing called doing a handshake, like if you're doing a business deal, right? There are businesswomen even in Saudi Arabia. What do you do then, right? Do you just say no? Well, what's the spirit of it, right? Like, is it meant to be like, don't touch a woman because it's just because it says so, or is it supposed to be, hey, don't be, like, promiscuous with a person? What is the point of it? What is the meaning? What is the heart of the message? Because Muslims are split on it, and that's kind of the reason why. That's like an example of where you have to take in some modernist idea.
Is a monolithic.
Hopefully that kind of answers your question.
That's all it's doing. No, it's not about monolithic. No. I've never listened to that. I never qualified that to you. So what you're doing right now is telling me what my belief system is, which is very strange. Very, very strange.
Not at all. You said you're a Christian.
No. Think about what you're doing. You keep saying that. Christians believe this because you say so. No, sir. You don't get to qualify what my religious beliefs are. You can ask your
I just want to quote the book of Psalms, chapter verse 28:7. The Lord is my strength and my shield, my heart trust.
Okay. So we can start there. You can ask me what I think, but you're not about to sit here and tell me what I think.
Brother, if you believe in Jesus, you believe in God. If you believe in God, according to the Abrahamic faith, then you believe in God as the creator of the universe. Which is, if God is the creator of the universe,
picking and choosing, actually.
No.
There are a lot of people who, they don't care about the religious text, but when it comes to you can marry for wives, they get excited, they become religious suddenly. Or if someone is trying to handshake their wives, they will emphasize on these things and will forget other things in that scripture.
But yeah, that's sort of the. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead, Abisina.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's sort of like that's one of the consortium of lies that has been told by establishment religious people, is that essentially, like, the tradition is the right thing and that's it. Like, that's the way that we've interpreted things is the way and that's it, right? Anyone that doesn't interpret it this way is simply just dishonest or whatever. And that's always been the way that it's been interpreted. That's also not true. It just, all of these things are just not true, and that's why it's hard to sometimes understand when somebody says, like, no, you're actually supposed to take in the spirit of the concept. I mean, even in law, that's true. Like, forget religion.
John,
even in law, that's true. And yet, we kind of obsess over just the letter of things.
What do you want to talk about, Royal? I'm busy working over here, recording Muslims, submitting it to the Yellow Canary coal mine. What's going on with you?
It's not stimulating my brain. I'm bored. I want my brain stimulated.
Okay, then listen to this, chapter and verse, Psalm 28:7. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and I am helped. My heart leaps for joy, and I will give thanks to him in song.
Hello, John. How are you?
Hello, Incredible Hulk. Are you ready for my song?
No, your song is shitty like your voice. Please play.
Hey, Bateja. Hey, Wallah. Hey, Bateja. Wey, Wallah. Bismillah. Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Rahman Allah. La 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 la.
You sound like a pork. Don't say that. Oh my God.
Sharmut sucker, my big gefilte fish. Ashkenazi cock.
Give me your family name here, please. I don't want to hear your family name.
Shut the fuck up, motherfucker. Give you my falafel sandwich. You'll eat my shawarma, bitch. I won't give you my lamb shawarma. I'll just give you my beef shawarma. No chicken for you, bitch.
Shawarma in your ass.
Hey, how you doing? How are we doing, brother?
Hello, Ranveer. Hello, Ranveer.
Hi, bro. Why you guys fighting? Why you guys fighting?
I don't know. This guy is such a pussy. He wants to fight.
So both intellectual and spiritual has been there since very early times. So, and the goal is to kind of remind them of that and try to change the conversation from dogmatic fundamentalism and literalism to an intellectual and spiritual approach to religion, one that's more inclusive of people, right, rather than condemning people for their beliefs. And Dave, they've been trying to convert Dave to this perspective for a minute. I would say they've been trying to convert Cheese as well, but this is how they operate. All right, and just be careful. That's all I would say, because they will try to get in and persuade you via a very powerful thing, which is Muslim Brotherhood. Like once you join the group, they'll treat you with the type of brotherhood to kind of keep you in there, and then the moment you show signs of any deviant interpretation, they'll correct you, and then if you don't correct yourself, they'll abandon you. That's kind of my experience.
I think Ahmad Hijab is contributing to that, and there is this kind of shunning people who disagree with him. I think he's
Okay, this is Muslim Brotherhood exposed.
Right? We have this thing called doing a handshake. Like if you're doing a business deal, right? With our businesswomen, even in Saudi Arabia, what do you do then? Right? Do you just say no? Well, what's the spirit of it? Right? Like, is it meant to be like, don't touch a woman because it's just because it says so, or is it supposed to be, hey, don't be like promiscuous with a person? What is the point of it? What is the meaning? What is the heart of the message? Because Muslims are split off, and that's kind of the reason why. That's like an example of where you have to take in some modernist ideas.
Is a monolithic.
Hopefully that kind of answers your question, Dave.
It's always true. No, sir, it's not about monolithic.
Yeah, this is
No. I've never listened to that.
about the inspiration.
Okay, you got about that. I never qualified that to you. So what you're doing right now is telling me what my belief system is, which is very strange. Very, very strange.
Not at all. You said you're a Christian.
No, think about what you're doing. You keep saying that. Christians believe this because you say so. No, sir. You don't get to qualify what my religious beliefs are. You can ask them
I just want to quote the book of Psalms, chapter verse 28:7. The Lord is my strength and my shield, my heart trusts.
Okay. So we can start there. You can ask me what I think, but you're not going to and sit here and tell me what I think.
Brother, if you believe in Jesus, you believe.
This isn't me hating my city. This is home. I'll likely be buried here. So it's home, and it has.
I never said you hated. I never said you hated the city.
I'm not saying that you said. I'm not saying that you said that. So I'm just finishing my statement. So with that being said, laying that groundwork, right? I don't like the concept or the idea that I'm trying to paint a bad picture of Chicago. I'm not. I'm painting a picture as it is, and even if Nicholas was right about the facts that it's the safest city among the major cities, and the numbers have gone down year over year, that may be true. This was my first statement. That may very well be true, and I can't fight the figures. But it is a feeling of what's going on. And again, I can't help but call out the facts, man. There are still things that started during COVID or the Black Lives Matter / George Floyd protests / riots. They're still ongoing. And that does include robbery, and that does include murder, that does include carjacking, that includes those things. And they are happening downtown. They are happening out south. They are happening out west. Not just relegated to the regular schmegular areas of that you'd expect. It's happening in a lot of different places. I'm not saying that this is the wild, wild west anymore, but it's happening. It started happening in 2020 or 2020. And it's an ongoing thing. And unfortunately, we have a mayor.
You keep repeating yourself, man.
Strong. I was repeating, but it came in. So.
Well, hold on, guys. Hold on.
Hey, with all due respect,
real quick, hold on. Look, the statistics, are something you can either accept or not accept because they're only as good as the inputs that you get. And you can report the crime, and then compile the statistics. As I'm looking at this, and I'm not from Chicago, but looking at the statistics, it looks like the peak for violent crime was in 2021. That was like a 25-year high. And as I'm looking at it, even right now, I suppose if you're going to compare it to other cities, like there's some cities in the state of Ohio that have much higher crime rates than Chicago. But when you look at crime rates and you say that, hey, a city has a propensity for violence, like I grew up in the East Bay, and Oakland was the high crime city, and then once upon a time East Palo Alto. What you do is you don't look at the city as a whole, because if you live in the good part of town, you can avoid a lot of these problems. But the question is, are there pockets within a particular town that have a propensity for more violence?
It's crazy.
And as I'm looking at this, there's 77 communities that they've identified in Chicago, and some of them are actually very low crime, comparatively speaking to other areas of the country. They hold up really well to say that they're safe, and so maybe you guys are sharing different experiences. But when I look at there's an area there, it's not very populated, but there's a community called Fuller Park, for example. Their crime rate in Fuller Park is the highest of any community in the country. And so maybe if somebody lived in Fuller Park, you'd have a hard time convincing them that it's safe. And maybe perhaps if you lived in the communities that are safer, maybe they're having a different experience. So I think that for those of you that are in Chicago, living it, experiencing it, it's very possible that you guys are all experiencing and reporting the truth of what you're seeing. But that doesn't paint the entire picture. There are parts of Chicago that are extremely riddled with high crime.
The Chicago police needs to deploy permanent watchtowers in all hotspots with snipers.
It's unparalleled in any other part of the country. So they're
I responded to Rob saying that people feel unsafe, and he said he got his information from the news. So he didn't even say that he said it himself. And I'm in Chicago all day. I like driving for Uber, like every neighborhood you can imagine. And I get out the car, go in stores, and I got a red bar. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. Anything less is an abandonment.
Okay, and I'm all over Chicago every day of the week, 7 days a week, 6 to 10 hours a day, and I feel safe. I don't see
all the violence that the news say. Not saying the news is lying, but the news is painting a picture. And that's why I say that you're painting a picture, Rob, because you're getting it based on what the news say. And the news, that's their job, is to find bad stories. But as far as people feeling unsafe in Chicago, I don't think that's necessarily true. Like Roger said, there are pockets. There are definitely pockets. But like downtown, you can go down there right now, I guarantee you there's thousands of people walking down the street of every color. And just no one's afraid of anything. So like, I think it's unfair to paint the picture based on the news.
Let's be fair, okay? People ordering Uber Eats on the south and west sides of Chicago, where you're driving and delivering, that's different than where the crime is happening. There is crime happening, especially in the south and west sides of Chicago. The enforcement of the crime has been declining. The reporting of the crime is not happening. Unfortunately, there's lots of shootings, there's lots of injuries that are not being reported because, first of all, the ambulances and the police don't even respond half the time because they get shot sometimes going and responding. So they're afraid for their own lives. Now, let's talk about Oak Street.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Now you interrupted me and then you painted you said we deliver Uber Eats. I don't deliver Uber Eats, but I drive all over the entire Chicago. Inglewood, Old Block, you name the worst neighborhoods in Chicago, I'd be in every last one of those neighborhoods. So like, but I'm not saying, of course things happen, but my point was that Chicagoans are not walking around in fear.
So I didn't mean to cut you off. So I will say that, like, even part of the problem with this conversation is, like, Chicago, from a scale perspective, is such a massive amount of area. Like, even the Fuller Park that Roger's talking about is, like, 30 minutes from downtown and, like, about an hour from the north side, right? So when you compare that to, like, some place like Miami, to get from downtown to Fort Lauderdale is 30 minutes, and there's about 8 cities in the middle. Well, there's Opelika, there's Aventura, there's Hollandale, etc. on the way to Fort Lauderdale. So the statistics would have cut all these cities up into individual areas. In Chicago, you have all this large territory clumped into one area, and it's all considered Chicago, even though they're completely different environments and completely different cities depending on where you're at. And I think that's problematic because Fuller Park is in the hood. I've done community service there. It's definitely not safe, but also, like, you walk around downtown in the north, you're in a completely different city. You don't feel unsafe in the north side or downtown areas at all, right? So, anyways, that's all I have to say. They really should cut Chicago up into smaller areas.
It's definitely very segregated, divided. I respect that you feel safe. I was just going to bring up an example of how things have changed. If I want to go and bring in a piece of fine jewelry on Oak Street at, like, the Van Cleef and Arpels, I can't just walk into that store. They have security. I need to make an appointment. 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
if you walk around Garfield Park at night, you will get shot and killed.
I didn't need an appointment. And I go to most other cities. I've been to Miami. I go to all these places. I travel. I do fine shopping.
Man?
Chicago has more security.
You will get
and
shot.
They have more security for a reason. They want to protect the tourists. They want to keep their fancy neighborhoods fancy. And they have a different level of security in the nice neighborhoods than they do on the south and west side. I can tell you, I've been an emergency physician at Loyola, at University of Chicago, south and west sides of Chicago.
If you walk around 95th and Sumac at night, you will get shot.
They drop a body and they keep driving, okay? That's how nothing gets reported. We don't even have a name. We just get pulses back, bring them back, and then somebody shows up and takes them home after, they survived it.
Also,
I wanted to say.
Go ahead, Rodney.
So y'all don't report that to the police, and the police don't come question the people. Y'all just patch them up and let them out.
Of course we report them. That's the law. But I'm telling you, when they're high and stoned and they don't know their name, if they don't have ID on them, how do you know?
They're gonna know it before they leave the hospital. You're saying the one I reported, and that's not true. Somebody with a gunshot wound, they're gonna find out who that person is before they leave the hospital.
There is no crime problem.
So I guess
Restaurants aren't getting mass looted. Mass shootings didn't happen. There is no
I was
crime.
kind of curious too when bringing up crime statistics too, like what certain statistics are built on, because
I heard it argued that the crime rate was going down back in like 2021 and 2022 from some people making that argument. And then I heard a very good counter
We need
argument.
reparations
Well,
and social
they're not
equity and
prosecuting a lot
jobs
of
to
crime.
stop the
So what
crime.
is the statistic built on? And I also just said, with all due respect to Hakima, I mean, what I saw, it did happen in probably 2021, I think. Now that I know, and Roger made a good point, but I was trying to make a more expansive point that there's something else happening. That you can see this kind of stuff in different cities. I mean, because I lived in Chicago in the early aughts, kind of after college came of age there, and you would never see some of the shit that I saw there in the past, 5 years back then. So I mean, there definitely has been a change, but I'm sure that the same can be said for other cities as well. So there's another kind of hooliganism that's happening. And I almost wonder if it has to do with the shit poor leadership we have in the country now, and what government has devolved to.
It's not government, my friend. This is not something that has the correlation of Biden and Chicago is not fair, or Trump.
Well, I didn't say Biden. So
you're
casting aspersion. You're casting
Wait, hold on, man. Relax. I'm not trying to attack you, right? Well, basically, okay, let's go high level, right? The correlation between the leadership of the country and what's going on in Chicago, I don't think is fair at all, to be honest. It is outside the scope of their responsibilities to own it on this problem, regardless of whatever political party is in charge. The second point I wanted to say was
still casting aspersions. All I said was
bro, I'm trying to be I'm not even being offensive. This is too I don't know why you're being hypersensitive right now. But the only thing I wanted to say was with regards to certain dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago, it is not. So my friend is a Chicago police officer, right? He got shot responding to a call on the South Side. They have been officers who haven't wanted to go to the South Side in certain neighborhoods for years, and that was about 6 years ago. That is not something that is recent or recently developed. The police are scared to go to some parts of Chicago, and that is not new. That's all
I just wanted to point out to something that came up. It's all love. It's all respect. I promise you that. But the news is a valuable source.
I never said that. You know, we started off with something I never said though. I never doubted the respect or the love.
I wonder what police don't want to work in black gang and Latino gang infested crime neighborhoods.
But you said the opposite. You don't have to validate it, bro. It's a
You literally started with my name.
Right. So let me finish my thought. So finishing that thought is this: that I get a lot of news. I get a lot of information from the news. I mean, the news is usually a third-party impartial source. They are incentivized to find more sensational things like that. Yes, true. But I get a lot of news from real-world people, like people out in the streets, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, a myriad of cousins, friends, family members. I've got a cousin who was attempted to be carjacked on 130 minutes. The gun that the guy had did not go off, and she was hesitant to shoot her own gun. I have Citizen app which reports things on the news. I mean, things that call-ins to the cops, and I'm actually out in the city, and I live here. You intimate that you drive here. I haven't heard you say you live here, and that's okay too. But I live here, and I've got family and friends that live here. I work here. So I'm a real estate coordinator and I'm a paralegal for multiple attorneys. And I go everywhere from north suburbs and north side, centrally downtown, to the south side and south suburbs. As far south as Matson, or as far in the southwest suburb, Palos Heights, Palos Hills, and all that kind of stuff. And so this isn't just the news, just the Tribune or the Sun Times, although those help, right? This is what I see and what I talk to people, and I'm telling you, and that's great for you, with your experiences. But I know other Uber drivers who are hesitant, who say, I'm not going to drive after 7 p.m., after sundown, because there are lots of Uber drivers that get robbed, they get carjacked, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to do it,
bro. That's not
true. That's not true for you, and that's great.
It's not true for Chicago. That's
in Chicago, taking Uber. I just told you, I'm not taking a ride after sundown because they're afraid. It's what somebody else said. Great that you're not afraid, but there are a number of other people in this city who are afraid. That's my piece.
drivers in January to February in one neighborhood, and it hasn't happened since. It was on the news for a split second, and that has not happened since. It was like 3 drivers. It was about 3 to 5 drivers in one neighborhood. Like you acting like Uber drivers may be scared to go to neighborhoods. I mean, they're naive, but there are tons of them still in the same neighborhoods, driving every night. I mean, Uber does not shut down at 7 p.m. And and I've never said Chicago, bad shit happen in Chicago, but it's targeted. You know what I'm saying? Most of the shit is they're doing something towards someone for whatever reason.
I disagree with that. They didn't break in my neighbor's car because my neighbor. I know my neighbor. She's a little old lady. She doesn't really
we talk about, of course, break-ins happen to them. I'm talking about the violent thing that people should be scared of when they go outside. They're not looking to kill you or rob you. And I mean, Chicago, my point, I didn't say Chicago wasn't violent. My point was Chicagoans are not walking around in fear every day. Not saying none of them.
Bro, you are so full of shit. I live in Chicago. I can cite numerous stories of little old ladies walking to the bus or train, and now they live in fear because 4 black guys get out of a car and then they rob her, and then they come back and beat the shit out of her. What about that? These happen everywhere. People are getting murdered, robbed, brutalized by young African and Latino men, and particularly these immigrant Venezuelan criminals who are now living in the mega hotels downtown in the city. Those are called crime HQs now, Hakima. You should pull your head out your ass and go look at Twitter news instead of relying on CNN, MSNBC, and all your other Democrat-talking mainstream media, hypnosis programs you run off of.
It's not a Democrat, though.
It's weird that you especially targeted Venezuelans. Do you have any data to validate Venezuelans with these attacks? Because it just sounds like.
Okay, if you're gonna call me a fucking idiot, I will now go to Twitter News and I will read you live events that have happened in the past 48 hours because you're not moderators. How do you like them apples?
Sit, John. Sit. That. Okay. Thank you. Anyways, so do you have any data?
Listen, you may talk to your friends like that at your LGBTQ pride parades, but you can't talk to me like that, you little faggot.
Sit. Thank you. Good boy. You want a treat?
Go back to your pride parade and have fun talking to your boyfriends like that.
How could we cultivate
Yeah,
this?
but this kid needs some drugs here. We need to
Get him a spliff start, and yeah, whatever. Very strange. It's a very strange experience.
Well, we are living in are you familiar with the concept of punctuated equilibrium?
I can't say that.
Okay, it's the current theory of evolution. I mean, has changed a lot since Darwin. I mean, some of it's still good, but a lot of it. One of the things is his time sequences appeared to be off. Is that it doesn't actually take millions and millions of years as species gradually transform.
Oh.
But we all feel that this concept of ourselves, which we call our personality or our ego, can do something. Because we think it really exists, and I'll tell you why we think it exists. What happens when if I were to say to you, now look hard at the television screen, really look at it. What do you do as distinct from just watching it in the ordinary way when you say, now I really got to see that? What do? Notice that you tighten muscles all around here, that you frown a little, you clench your teeth perhaps. Now what has that got to do with seeing anything clearly? It had absolutely nothing to do with it. Same thing when you listen carefully. Now listen, catch everything that's said, or you start tightening up around your ears. That has nothing to do with hearing clearly. But we all feel that this concept of ourselves, which we call our personality or our ego, can do something. Because we think it really exists, and I'll tell you why we think it exists. What happens when if I were to say to you, now look hard at the television screen, really look at it. What do as distinct from just watching it in the ordinary way when you say, now I really got to see that? What do? Notice that you tighten muscles all around here, that you frown a little.
It's just kind of, sometimes he just goes unstoic.
Did anybody ever see his movie, Scam Movie? Anybody else besides me?
He kicked me out already? Fuck.
Large investments for this. Oh, do we got Tiffany Sotheby? This is one of the aliases.
Hi, Roger.
Hey, not too much on Tiffany. There's not too many
Who
women on this
was
app.
that strong white American man talking earlier? John Kitover? He sounded hot.
Oh my God. How do I not know who Edmund is? I've never heard of this guy.
It's because your ego is in your way.
Oh,
You're not listening. Well, there's pictures of him doing yoga poses. I can get those for you, Dr. Catherine, if you like.
Maybe we should see your mugshot instead.
I actually have a picture of I've shown my mugshot. Tiffany, are you single?
You know, what's so funny is a lot of people here know I'm a white American man, but they still hit me up. They don't care.
That's because you're so hot. Tiffany is a hottie.
Tiffany, you are hot.
Tiffany is a hottie.
That's so gay. Tiffany, hello.
Nigga, faggot.
You're transgendering.
Hey, faggot, nigga.
Oh, you're gonna have to kick Ishmael. He said faggot, nigger, nigger, faggot.
Okay, it's time to moderate. Magic.
He followed us all the way home, and I can't get him. I just don't have the last four numbers of the phone number under the tag.
I just want to say that Hikima drove me once from a rave on the south side of Chicago after a BLM rally where I got anally gapped by three gigantic black men. And Hikima was so protective. He was so kind to me as he brought me to Rush Medical Center to have my sex rape kit. Anyways,
maybe everyone should unmute and just
listen. I just want to say one thing because I know I'm gonna get kicked soon. So all communication is hypnosis, and if you join Chatter, eventually you'll get hit up for an investment. God bless you all. Don't get scammed. Vote Trump and go to the gym today. God bless you all. I love you.
I did go to the gym today. I actually went to Pilates. It was fantastic. Thank you for asking, Tiffany.
I have to watch it. Nicholas.
What was that, Dad?
I've seen
you. Just like want to walk right all over what Tiffany told you. It's hilarious.
Tiffany, I've seen Edmund shirtless. He needs to go to the gym.
And Jay, it's just weird that you watch like videos of this dude shirtless. Like just because he makes the videos doesn't mean you need to watch them or tell us about them.
Oh wait, time out, Catherine. I didn't know he was shirtless when I went over there. He didn't warn me. He just invited me to watch the movie about me, Roger, you, and everybody else. When I went over there, he was sitting there with his man boobs out.
Wait, so is he hot or no? Is he worth it to like check out, or like is he like an overweight man?
Shoot your shot, Nicholas.
What did you mean when you said? Can you open your DMs for me? Thank you.
Tiffany, what do you mean when you say all communication is hypnosis? What does that mean?
Wait, what was that question, Randy? I guess I didn't understand it. Did I miss?
Tiffany said that all communication is hypnosis. And that, I find that intriguing. Maybe it's just me. What does that mean? All communication is hypnosis.
I mean, don't take anything Tiffany says seriously. Like, we know Tiffany's a troll.
Well, hold on. Here's the interesting thing. Despite the trollish tendencies, Edmund is actually one of the more well-read people that you're going to meet on this app. And so if you fight through some of the trollish shit, there's actually some interesting stuff. And Randy's touching on one of the interesting threads.
What do you think it means, Roger? Is it true? I don't think so. I don't believe it. I know he says it a lot, and I know he believes it. I would say some communication is hypnosis, but not all.
So which communication, Randy, do you believe is not hypnosis?
You and I talking right now. I don't believe I'm trying to hypnotize you or trying to get you to agree with anything. But there are times when people are selling something or trying to convince people of something, or trying to convince someone that they love them or that they are loved. And it can border on, mesmerizing, and there's certain words that are used to, convincing, persuasive words. But I don't believe that all communication is hypnosis. I don't believe that I'm trying to hypnotize you right now.
It's neuro-linguistic programming.
Yes, that's a term. Yes, I've read that, seen that term. I never studied it deeply, but I know, yes, that is a term that's used. Like, pickup artists use that term, like to try and pick up girls. They say there's certain words that can. I don't know how well it works.
Well, I already explained it. You don't have to read.
Listen, when Joe Biden says, God will have to come out of the sky in order to stop me from, that is essentially neurolinguistic programming. He has to bounce back from the debate with new NLP for the population. That's the definition of hypnosis. It's mass communication theory. I'm not saying all communication is hypnosis. I'm just trying to make the point that mass communication hypnosis or theory deals with neurolinguistic programming, which is basically just word stuffing.
Why do you always say all communication is hypnosis? Why do you use the word all?
Because even when you have sex, okay, that's a form of hypnosis. That kundalini or those S curves, that vibration is the hypnosis. I'm just trying to punch a hole in your head to always keep you awake, meaning like you can get, basically, you can't tell me what you talked about on Clown House 72 hours ago, because all communication is hypnosis, and the byproduct of hypnosis is amnesia. You won't remember this conversation 72 hours from now, but at least you remembered my maxim or my aphorism, which I read in a book called The Matrix, or the Premier Neurolinguistic Programming Handbook, and it says that in 1986, they declared the Society of NLP in Boston said all communication is hypnosis. It's a maxim. If you study NLP books, you'll eventually probably come across that quote.
Okay, Tiffany, Edmund, your speech is getting a little pressured. You're doing all.
Sorry, everybody. This is Rogers and Kelly's room, not yours, Catherine.
Well, thank you, Tiffany. Thanks for. Maybe I'm taking you more seriously than I should, and I appreciate what you just said. But so you're saying that you use all communication because it's a better slogan than some communication. It's that simple.
Exactly. And I am being facetious and comical. Like, if you actually take me seriously, you haven't figured out LARPing or essentially role-playing. I mean, we are all on a stage. This is a theater. The same thing goes with the White House and Congress. Everybody is living a temporary life on a stage. How are you going to play your various roles and parts? I mean, I am now Tiffany Sotheby. I am a 23-year-old hot blonde with great tits, a tight ass. I do yoga 7 days a week. I don't want to work. I have an OnlyFans, an Instagram, a TikTok, and yes, I have a Chatter. And I've partnered with CEO John Kitover to launch Foot Talk, which is a direct competitor to Nelson Apega, Cindy Stumpo, and also Grant Cardone. We're going to knock this startup out the park. It's called Foot Talk, and if you want to join, text me at 312-498-0517, a picture of your feet, or take your shoe off your foot right now, put it on your head, take a selfie and put it on your PTR, send me your Cash App, and I will send you $10 right now to join Foot Talk, the most exciting and advanced social audio startup you've never wanted to talk about.
Who are the other people involved in the startup? You said their names pretty quickly. Who are your partners at the startup?
Tiffany, can I get your phone number? Peace to the room.
Yeah, go ahead. Text me 312-498-0517. I want to see your feet. I'm sending everybody $10 Cash App today for pictures of your feet. That's $1 a toe. 10 not 11, 10 not 9. Raboino Shalom and good Shabbos. Tiffany Sotheby's plane has landed. I am complete.
Right now, my foot is in my PPR now. Will that give me like $5 right now? Or did he leave? Never mind. But Tiffany, you're there? Can I get some cheddar for my foot photo right now?
I'm sorry. Did everybody not hear me? Is my mic not working? Did you really want me to repeat myself? Do you want to hear my spiel again? Do you want to hear my shtick, Raboino Shalom? Oh my God, Randy, that's a $5 winner right there. Chicken dinner. You got yourself $5. Good Shabbos, Randy.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Is like, cash at me now, buddy.
I recommend compression stockings, Randy.
Look at them cankles. Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, I have doctors in my family and everything is good, but thank you for your concern. Appreciate
Did the Jews really invent podiatry, or is that just a trope?
I never heard it ever.
My friend's dad came from Eastern Europe, or his grandfather did, and he started the first podiatry business in Chicago. He was kicked out of apartments for being Jewish and doing Jewish things, and a lot of racism against Jews, but he started a successful podiatry business, and I always thought podiatry was like the lowest form of medicine, but, they perform surgeries.
What Jewish things did he do that he got kicked out?
He was swinging a chicken around his head in the middle of the street on some holiday.
Can you kick this guy? Oh my God.
Oh my God, David Bobadilla. Go back to your partners and your meetings at your sporting events and, stop it, Kermit the Frog. Get a man voice. Try to get a deeper voice, Kermit. Anyways, good Shabbos. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu. B'mitzvotah v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat b'nei pri hagafen.
Dude, you know your shit, dude. I gotta give you credit, man. You just combined a few prayers, and that was very holy. All right, I'm getting a lot of DMs now about my feet. So I'll probably change my photo to something else now.
No, go double down and take both toes. Let's see both feet. And I'll send you the $10, 10 not 11, 10 not 9. And we are going to launch the most successful competitor startup to Chatter and Clown House. And it's going to be called Foot Talk. It's going to be just like a Clown House room. But instead of your PTRs of all your beautiful punums, it's going to be your feet. It's going to revolutionize social audio chit chat.
Great diet aid.
I want to be you want to be what?
Ready for a hurricane. It's all weather in Texas.
Well, by the time it gets to you, it's probably not going to be a hurricane anymore.
I don't want to talk about the weather because that's one of the lowest forms of conversation. I just want to quote John 16:33 when he said, I have said these things to you that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. Tiffany Sotheby has overcome the world.
Me too. I added mine in there as well, so you guys can see my. I got big feet. They're really fat. They do their job.
Don't let anybody foot shame you, dude. Don't let anyone. Those feet are normal. They're fine. Don't let anybody. Sometimes people, haters want to foot shame us. No.
Randy, with all due respect, he's right. Those are like Middle Earth fucking hobbits. If he was hanging out with Sam and Frodo, they'd make it to Mordor for sure.
Okay, so I'm still offering anybody $10 right now to change their PTR to a picture of their feet, and if anybody wants to send me $10, I will PTR my feet.
Please don't. Yeah, please don't actually.
You see, this is how Foot Talk will work. is the more feet photos you post, the bigger your revenue and the more profit your startup can be to be acquired in a round C acquisition from Google and some fringe cringe LGBTQ group fighting for foot rights. 10 toes deep in the ground.
Making money on selling feet photos, like on the internet, it's crazy. People will pay for anything.
They say that no two toe prints are alike. The FBI knows that. It's like fingerprints. Yeah, toe prints are highly unique. It's like snowflakes with no two that are exact.
Oh, this is the crossover content Foot Talk needed. Thanks, Randy. You're the best.
I didn't know that. But I guess that makes sense, right? I guess that could make sense.
But it's not just the swirls on the toe print. It's the shape of your toes. Everybody's toes are shaped very uniquely. And so, before they invented fingerprints, they could tell when people were barefoot, they could kind of tell them apart from the toe print setting. If you look at my feet, as opposed to some other feet that are out there, my fourth and fifth toe, they kind of curve. And it's the curve that's unique. Everybody has a different. I see Nicholas's toes are straight, they're not curving. The fourth and fifth toe are not curving. So already,
I think it's because he's gay and his feet or his toes are straight. You're straight and your toes are a little gay. I think that's the rule.
That's it. The rule of toe.
So, serious question, like, is this like a fetish for you? Like, feet, is that a thing? Like, a lot of people love this, like have this thing with feet,
I think when your toes are curling, that's called Peyronie's disease.
No, so apparently, like, gay has significant damage to your body. Like, the way that your hip is aligned and your knee pain, it could come down from the way that your toes are positioned on the ground. And that's why they say, like, I don't know, they say flat feet that are the best, Catherine? Or what's their specific foot type?
No, but I'd like to correct you. El Normo Peyronie's is when your penis is curved.
I have heard that people with curved toes have bigger genitals down. Yeah, they have halfway. I've heard that. That's been now recorded forever.
Wait, Dr. Catherine, so is it the hard feet? Like, is flat feet are bad, right? I don't know. I gotta look this up.
PTR. For a lot of you people new to Foot Talk, this will be the first time you ever monetize your entire existence on Clown House when I send you your first $10 today for pictures of your feet. So just think about that. Think about that. Countless days and months and years you've wasted slaving over useless conversations, totally irrelevant conversations that you can't even remember, but today is the big payoff. For $10, I'll send you $10 for pictures of your feet. This is Tiffany Sotheby, CEO of Foot Talk.
If I was thinking this Uber right now with this plane, I don't know if I'd tip him or not.
So according to AI right now, I was 100% incorrect. So according to this thing, you can, like, being footed apparently can lead to later pain as you get older. Hold on, let me pull up the AI thing. Okay, so according to AI, it says, is it bad? Having flat feet isn't inherently bad, but flat feet can increase the likelihood of developing pain because a lot of times the feet are especially if you're flat feet, roll further towards the ground than the arch feet. So apparently having some type of arch is apparently good, but it doesn't impact everybody the same way. So there's a lot to say. It depends on the
Okay, so we have 3 confirmed foot talkers. Can we get a fourth? Can I get a fourth toe? Fourth toe, fourth foot, fifth foot?
Okay, and full disclosure, y'all, this is not actually my feet. It's some random picture I found on Google, so this is not what my feet look like.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. We can't give you a profile at Foot Talk if you can't do a photo verification of your actual feet. Every foot is documented, and biometric stats and biometric tracer marks are placed on every foot for future reference when you want to scan into one of our foot facilities tied into our social audio chat media corporation.
So can we go back to fighting about Chicago? I feel like we killed the Foot Talk.
I have a quick question for Tiffany Edmond. Whose picture is that really? And do you feel a little creepy about posting some other person's picture? And
Oh, that was an AI-generated image. You don't have to worry about me doxing somebody or screenshotting or recording anything. That was all done through a CGI AI filter, thanks to Bill Gates and Microsoft. If you want to learn how to use AI and do foot talk, hit me up in the DM or text or call me at 312-498-0517. This is Tiffany Sotheby, and my plane has landed.
Wow. And with that, I will see y'all later. God bless y'all. This has been a weird morning.
Oh, you didn't know the future is now? There is no future or free beer tomorrow? You guys have never studied philosophy? Oh, you think there's a future?
Oh, Tiffany, I would love it if you could just not hit the helium so hard.
I'm not. I'm drinking bread and butter Pinot Noir 2022 from Napa Valley from Walgreens. It really tastes like butter in a bottle.
Well, I can tell you that this conversation has never happened on the other app, so there's that.
I just want to quote the Romans and say that the God of peace be with you. This is Tiffany Sotheby, Recording Productions Incorporated. My private jet has landed, and I'm complete. I will be holding a meditation and a yoga room later today for all Roger's friends in Roger's house, if he will allow it. It will be a guided breathing and stretching meditation yoga seminar just for Clown House clowns. And Dr. Francine will be helping me co-host. Nelson Apega, Cindy Stumbo are going to do a downward dog as opposed to just sitting there having useless conversations all day long for years and years and years and years.
So, when are you going to tell us what happened to you? Do you want to talk about that?
I went to a BLM rally and I had a radical awakening, a Tiffany epiphany, you might say. And it was at that BLM riot that I met my ex-fiancé, Tyrone. Tyrone, he was the son of a communist, a radical Black Panther. And we fell in love at the beach. He had a sailboat. I never knew black men could sail because I didn't know they could swim. But let's just leave it at the fact that when I touch my nipples and I think about your feet, I am often confused about whether or not I should vote for Trump or Kennedy. But I definitely can't vote for Joe Biden because it turns out he has Parkinson's. And his doctor at the hospital, aka the assisted living facility, now known as the White House, well, Tiffany Sotheby has said too much, and I must meditate on my peace and my harmony, so my transition surgery this Monday goes well. My Democrat LGBTQ psychiatrist prescribed me Adderall last year, and I have since transitioned into Tiffany Sotheby, much to the disdain of my grandparents, my ex-wife, and my father.
But let's just say that my psychiatrist, Dr. Weinstein, is very happy at the prospects of my transition and my surgery being a complete success.
Dr. Catherine, did that answer your question?
Tiffany, if there's a little Seroquel or Hellbell in the house, maybe it's a good time to just,
Oh, thank you, Dr. Catherine. I have used those psychiatric medications before, but they don't work as good as finely grown Illinois cannabis, and a little bread and butter from Pinot Noir Valley in Napa. Have you been to Napa Valley, Dr. Catherine?
Many times, Tiffany.
I knew you were going to say that. Vote Trump and do some extra yoga and meditation today, Dr. Catherine. God bless you all. I've said too much. Look at my beautiful feet. Do you think my calves are nice and muscular? So I've recently adopted a baby. His name is Tyrone. He's from the South Side. His mother was a crack addict. And his father, well, he didn't know his father. And, well, really, the mother didn't know the father either. But what's important is he's now driving an Uber around Chicago and all the dangerous areas. And there is no crime. Little old women and young hot 20-year-old girls are not getting mugged in the streets and being told to open up their phone or I'll blow your fucking head in, bitch. And I want your Zelly paid money. Give it to me, my little honey. Anyways, crime is not a problem. Abortions aren't real. There's only clowns now. We live in Clown Town. We're all living in a clown world. And you're all clowns, and now you know we're all just a bunch of clowns. So it doesn't matter who you vote for, you're still voting for a clown in Clown Town.
This has been a Tiffany Sotheby 2024 ClownPodcast.com recording. Thanks for all participants. We didn't get your permissions, but you will be sold to Netflix. God bless you all.
So in the ER, we had a room, we called it the isolation room, where we would put patients like this who were manifesting different behaviors, speaking in different tongues, if you might, exhibiting pressured speech, using different neuralistic patterns to express themselves, having different characters, a bit of delusion. It's really interesting.
Isn't abortion a delusion? When a child's head is cut off in a uterus, is that delusional?
Is that your understanding of abortion, Tiffany?
I'm asking you a very specific question. When a Da Vinci machine goes inside of a vagina and goes up next to the neck of a tiny little 8-year-old boy named Tyrone and cuts the neck of that little boy, is that delusional?
Did you say an 8-year-old boy?
No, an 8-month-old fetus inside of a vagina. That's where abortions happen, except unless you're in Virginia. Then they can do it when you're outside of the vagina.
Did they ever put you in restraints when you were in the hospital and tie you to the bed? Was that very traumatic for you?
Have you ever taken tefillin and wrapped a woman with it and then spanked her booty with a little bit of the tefillin? Row. Can I get a? Oh yeah. Vote Trump and go to the gym. You've all been hypnotized.
Not everyone knows the word tefillin. You should use the word phylacteries. I think that's the English word, right?
There's no Greeks in here. They don't know phylactery.
Phylacteries is much more common in
Listen, I'm just using the right words. Yeah, I knew a guy named phylacteries. The whole Acteries family were very nice, but they named their kid Phil, and then a lot of people called him Tefillin as a nickname.
That's funny. On my J-Swipe profile, I used to say I was the matzah king of Chicago, and my parents and my grandparents started a matzah factory in 1946, and all these girls were like, "Do you really own a matzah factory?"
Just Google matzah factory started in 1946, and we'll find out your family.
It's really just a cardboard recycling plant, but they called it matzah.
You know, Dr. Catherine, do you know what makes matzah matzah?
I do not.
Is your last name Manisevich, by the way?
No, I didn't
I'm
have
talking about
many.
the other guy, but it's
That's
Matt,
not
Greek, by the way.
Matt's to you.
Are you Greek, did you say? I have a lot of respect for Greek culture.
I'm 100% Greek.
So, anyways, if anyone else is interested in joining Foot Talk, the fastest growing competitive app to chatter and Clown House and Twitter Spaces. Please, David, don't interrupt my VC pitch. Go have your meetings and go to sporting events. We're trying to launch a business here. Many of you are not going to be able to adjust your adjusted gross income this year unless you work with Tiffany Sotheby. Tiffany Sotheby Consulting, Tiffany Sotheby Investments, Tiffany Sotheby Venture Capital is the investment choice you and your family office have been looking for. You have to realize that social audio chat is not just about a technology platform, it's about mind control, brain control. And only Tiffany Sotheby has the power and the chutzpah and the intelligence and the understanding to create a mass hypnosis and overcome Nelson Apega and the future frauds and scams of chatter. This is Tiffany Sotheby, and I am complete. I also want to thank Roger's House for platforming me and allowing me to drop all my obnoxious troll eggs inside your head. But seriously, if you want to invest in Foot Talk and you're looking for the hottest new VC startup in the entire United States of America, and you're looking to adjust your adjusted gross income and maybe get a couple dividends out of it. I don't know, do people do dividends anymore? Anyways, vote Trump. And let's go to the gym, everybody. God bless you all. Roger Mayhem. Oh, Roger, if you didn't know, I've been putting you on YouTube for quite a while. And recently you went viral, which was a very exciting, moment, because I do a lot of filming and not everything goes viral. But you, sir, went viral. You can probably search for it, Roger Mayhem Mass Chaos, something like that. But it went viral.
Excellent to look at.
Okay, so I can prove to you hypnosis if you're still here and you're still patient. I call this God Hypnosis Incorporated. This is essentially a breathing meditation. So take the deepest breath of the day through your nose, hold it for 10 seconds, let it go and say, I am a flower. Now take the second deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. Let it go and say, I am Tiffany Sotheby. This is a Tiffany Sotheby Hypnosis Incorporated recording.
I have to say something. 30 years ago, you would have been a star. But as Americans have become so much dumber, I think so much of this goes over people's heads. I mean, not in this room necessarily, but it's a tragedy to me that your humor is kind of just, it's unfortunately wasted.
Well, see, the thing is, it's not necessarily wasted. What I've done is I've bottled it. And as I'm drinking this fine Pinot Noir, you can't see behind my shoulder. You don't see my perspective. So the whole point is, in terms of relativity, I have at least created a winery of Clown House. This app will probably disappear. In fact, go to the newsfeed and you'll see how broken it is. Where are the founders? They probably don't give a fuck if the fucking code is broken. They don't give a fuck. They're gone. And the point is, at least I've bottled something. What have you done?
No, I'm with you 100%. I did used to wear a shirt called I'm Autistic, what's your excuse? That didn't always go over well, but I mean, it's true.
Listen, this is just like the sum, Okay, so in terms of mythology or backstory, everyone here has a journey about how they got to Clown House. I could tell you my backstory, but it's really not that interesting. I mean, it's mostly business, but it deals with communication. I think everybody here is probably here because of communication. Yes or no? Anyways, all right, so I'm going to do this hypnosis. But before I do that, I'm going to play for you the Jew harp. It goes a little something like this. Text me a picture of your feet at 312-498-0517. Text me a picture of your feet at 312-498-0517. This is the future of social audio chit-chat, Foot Talk. The VC investment your family office has always been looking for. Okay, so this is what I would call basically mass hypnosis communication, or self-actualization hypnosis, or self-actualization comedy. Because technically what I'm doing is comedy. It's also artwork, but I'm documenting the tragedy of your lives. And this is what I call God hypnosis. The God of...
People don't know what a family office is. I think you need to explain that to people.
So there's a bunch of penguins walking around, talking on the phone, looking at emails all day. That's a family office. The God of peace be with you. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So this is basically shorthand scripture, but I would call it shorthand scripture NLP. So try to focus on what I'm saying. It's all being uploaded into your brain. This is how NLP works. It's just information exchange, or word exchange, or word stuffing. This should technically impact your psychology if you listen closely. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him and I am helped. My heart leaps for joy, and I will give thanks to him in song. I know the Lord is always with me. I will not be shaken, for he is right beside me. When doubts filled my mind, your comfort gave me renewed hope and cheer. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. God will meet all your needs according to his glorious riches. God will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Guide our feet into the way of peace. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God stands forever. Though you may stumble, you will not fall, for the Lord upholds you with his hand. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. All of God's promises have been fulfilled in Christ with a resounding yes. He heals the brokenhearted and bandages the wounds. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and he will give you everything you need. The Lord upholds all those who fall and lifts up all who are bowed down. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteousness to be moved. God set my feet on solid ground and steadied me as I walked along. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. For they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. The Lord will guide you always. Having hope will give you courage. You will be protected and will rest in safety. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Joyful is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find it. Knock and the door will be opened to you. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. The Lord's plans stand firm forever. His intentions can never be shaken. He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lamb in his arms and carries them close to his hand. Be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. God has made everything beautiful in its name. Faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. God's word is a lamp to my feet and a light for my path. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never be thirsty. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God. O my strength, to you I sing praises, for you, O God, are my refuge, the God who shows me unfailing love. God's voice thunders in marvelous ways. He does great things beyond our understanding. Your sun will never set again. Your moon will wane no more. The Lord will be your everlasting light, and your days of sorrow on Clown House will end. When the righteous cry for help, Tiffany Sotheby hears you and rescues you all from your troubles. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that God Hypnosis Incorporated recording production. Rabbi Shalom.
Tiffany Sotheby is complete.
The show's over. You're still here. What are you doing? Haven't you seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off? The show's over. Go home. The movie's over. Go to scammovie.com for more, or go to johnkitover.com, or text me at 312-498-0517. If you're a Netflix content acquisition expert looking for the funniest content you've never seen, call John Kitover or my talent agent, Dr. Jordan. Dr. Jordan.
What I recommend for you is, or that you could do if you haven't already, is do your kind of impressions of various Jewish comics. I think people would understand Jewish comics better if you did a room on Jewish comics. From Rodney Dangerfield to whomever.
Oh, Scott Jones is here. Get Scotty up here. Scott is the love of my life. Tiffany Sotheby and Scott got married last week. And actually, our rabbi was a Jewish comedian. Maybe you've heard of him. Who's the most famous Jewish comedian who's ever lived? Jesus Christ. Duh. Hey, Scotty. How you doing, honey?
Tiffany, are you complete?
I feel complete. I'll be succinct.
I love you, Tiffany. You know I love you.
I love you too, and that's why we're going to the Gay Island Resort, a Fantasia LGBTQ Super Plus Resorts, a Hilton resort complex dedicated by the Pope himself. And Scott and I recently got engaged. So Scott, can you tell everybody about our marriage and why it's a surprise?
I could, but I'll say one thing. Kelly, is that right if I just talk for a minute or no? Like, I literally mean a minute. But, yeah, I was in Uncle Steve's room today, and Brad and I were having, I thought a spirited exchange, and I said, in the tradition of the U.S. Senate, I said, I disagree with my friend Brad here on several, because Brad and I share a lot of spaces together, and people accosted me in the chat and said I was probably a rapist, an abuser of women, all of this stuff, because I had called Brad, I said my friend before I disagreed with him. And I thought disagreed with him pretty strongly, as we often do. And if that's the level of discourse in this app, in this country, where you can't exhibit a modicum of symbolic generosity before you disagree with somebody, then I want to eat my own head. So there you go. I'm complete, as Tiffany would say.
Yeah, just let it go, Scott. The interactions with Brad can be very toxic. And through psychotherapeutic research, I've discovered that Brad is a Cro-Magnon man with a genetic deficiency that causes him to get violently rude, and he becomes...
Yeah, Scott, I thought that was pretty fucked up.
Where we have to have that sort of emergency incivility. I mean, just to make sure no one is generous at all to their interlocutors. It's just disgusting.
Sorry, I'm having trouble unmuting. No, I agree, and that's exactly what I think is so terrible about it. But I mean, it's not just a matter of interacting with people who have different points of view, whether it be political or anything else, and that being a level 10 association crisis. Everything is a threat to democracy. Everything is fascist. Everything is akin to Hitler. There's a lot of that conversation, and it was interesting because I know that in most of these political conversations, you sit on the left, not far left at all, but if there's a line dividing the right and the left, like you're usually sitting somewhere on the left in a reasonable way. And you were doing the same thing today, but the reactions to even you trying to be honest about your interpretations of things were perceived as equally, damning of you as your ability to speak.
Right. I assume that the people that were critiquing me probably agree with me on most of what I was saying, but just humanizing Brad was enough of a sin. This is where the left, they hate Christians, but they love heresy sometimes. So, they'll talk about secularism and atheism. We don't want Christian nationalism. Yet they act like they're part of the Spanish Inquisition, and there's heresies, and once you commit a heresy, that you've got to be tortured, and it's just fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad you came in here kind of randomly and brought it up because I don't know, like there's the left on this app, and so I think in media, I think on this app, on a lot of social media, there's trend toward what happened today, but it was just so stark and bizarre. Like especially them saying that you like abuse women. I mean, it was so weird. And then there were also other things happening in the same vein, but not specific, to you in the chat. And I don't know if you noticed, because when I posted Carmel's comments last week, because I was like, God damn, this is a great example of it.
I love Flower.
Yeah, and I had an interaction with a friend today who I do podcasts with, who also is a kind of lefty guy. I said,